Welcome to the beast, I unleash, I'm a motherfucking beast.
Woo!
I knew that was gonna happen.
I just had to do it, sorry. It's your video, but I had to do it.
Alright, what's up YouTube? So welcome to day 22 of the 30-day Kickstart program. Today I have with me a very special guest, Doug Miller here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, who you are, everything like that.
Okay, so in a nutshell, so right now I am the CEO and owner of Core Nutritionals, Marissa Labs, and the Nutrition Corners. So Core Nutritionals is my baby. That's our dietary supplement line, very high-end supplement line. Marissa Labs is also a supplement line, more edgy in the marketing, but sticks to the same principles that we do with Core Nutritionals. The Nutrition Corners is our retail side of things, which is we have 9 stores in the Virginia area. FNC, go check them out if you haven't yet. So we have 9 stores now and growing, and so that's what I do now. In my former life, I did economic litigation consulting for 12 years. And so I did that, and on the side, I started building these businesses. It was probably about 4 years ago that I left that job. It was a really good job, but had the golden handcuffs for a while. Probably should have left earlier, but it is what it is. I learned a lot from it, and I couldn't do what I do today without that. So it was a good decision to leave, but it was very important that I did that stuff earlier. Even before that, you know, as I was doing that job with the economic consulting, I got into bodybuilding. It was like my hobby. And so I'm a natural pro. I've won the world championship a couple times, and that's really helped grow my brands, you know, kind of through natural bodybuilding. Now we're kind of, you know, we're larger than that now. Like, it's not just bodybuilders that use our products. That's, in a nutshell, in a like the 30-second overview. That's who I am and what I do.
Awesome. Alright, so the reason why I'm having Doug on my channel for the 30-day Kickstart is because, well, first of all, you guys see on all my social medias, I tag Core Nutritionals, I tag Marissa Labs, I tag Fairfax Nutrition Corners, I tag Zach, who's the manager of that store, and I encourage you guys to order from there, support small businesses, and I use their products on a daily basis, so it's pretty seamless for me to have them be a sponsor of the Kickstart. And so if you guys are doing this Kickstart program with me as it premiered in July 2017, then if you entered into that contest for the transformation, then the winner of that is going to receive a prize from Doug from the Nutrition Corners store. So that is how this all ties together. And now I'm going to ask you just a couple questions for my audience to get to know Doug, to get to know everything he's about, and so you guys can feel more involved with his businesses and hopefully support them in the future. The first thing I want to ask you is, what got you into bodybuilding? Like, what got you started?
So in high school, I was always very athletic. I was very good at the sports I played. I played soccer, baseball, and I swam. But the thing that really held me back was my size. I was about 130 pounds soaking wet when I graduated high school.
Oh my goodness.
So I was recruited at some smaller schools to play and swim, but you know, I realized I wasn't going to be a professional athlete, you know, so I decided to pursue academics over athletics. So I went to Penn State's honors program, studied biochemistry and economics, and right away, when I was studying the science of it and then also needing the physical kind of outlet, because I was used to training year-round for these sports, I was missing something. So freshman year, a buddy of mine on my floor was into weightlifting, so he kind of got me started, and I was like hooked immediately. Like, I was spending time on the internet, you know, I bought all the muscle mags, and and I gained probably the first 6 months, I gained 35 pounds or 30 pounds of like lean weight. I mean, I was in the prime, like growing age. So I was like hooked. So I was like, this is awesome. Like, I would literally eat boxes of cereal, you know, at night. Like, I could eat anything, and I was just training hard and eating as much as I could. So I was pretty much instantly hooked. So I continued that through college. Then when I got down to the DC area where I had my job, I started working out at a gym where there was a bunch of bodybuilders, old school bodybuilders. This was like in Silver Spring, Maryland. It was Olympus Gym. It was kind of grungy. It was just old school. And they just talked me into doing it. So I dieted like 7 weeks, I think, or something like 7 or 8 weeks for my first show.
Something crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't do that now when I compete. It's like 25 weeks, but you know, and the first show I was 22 years old. I won the overall novice. Second show I did a year later, I won the overall and got my pro card, and so I was kind of instantly hooked. Like when you win your first couple times, you're like, this is cool, right?
Yeah, you're like, I'm
so you
good
get
at
hooked,
this.
and then I started competing as a pro, and kind of really the rest is history. I haven't competed like, you know, some people have competed 50 times. I've not competed that much because I was a big believer in taking time off between shows. Like usually I would wait 2 or 3 years, and one time I waited 5 years, and I made more gains in that period than the people that compete all the time. They just never get better. So I really took time between my shows, and then I had others. I had a career and everything else, so I didn't want to like rush getting on stage.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of like my bodybuilding. That's how I got into bodybuilding.
So you got into bodybuilding, you started becoming successful at it. How did this transition into entrepreneurship?
Well, I mean, I think entrepreneurship really comes from, or the good entrepreneurs really just follow their passion, right? And so I really love the people I was working with. I mean, economic litigation consulting sounds really boring. I worked with a lot of smart people. A lot of people had PhDs in economics, computer science, all of this stuff. Those are very, very smart people, and I was very fortunate to work with some, have really cool opportunities at a very young age, so I became a manager there quickly. But it wasn't my passion.
Yeah.
The content was just not what I was passionate about. Any free minute I had, I was on the internet researching bodybuilding or supplements, right? And so, you know, it was kind of natural for me to kind of move towards that. And so in 2004, when I was getting ready for a bodybuilding show, I always use a meal replacement because, you know, working an office job and sometimes you can't eat up your food. I just wasn't happy with the EAS Myoplex packets or the Metrex packets that had maltodextrin in them, which is a filler carb, a cheap carb source. So I was like, I can do this. Why can't I make a product that is what I want? So I created Core MRP, which was our first product.
Really?
Took a $10,000 investment. Actually, I guess it was a $20,000 investment, and came out with the first product, which is Core MRP. And so Core MRP has oat and barley flour, like slower digesting carbohydrates, a blend of protein, no fillers. And so those are like the same principles we stick to even all the way to today. And so it was just kind of a risk. I did it really as a hobby. You know, I was making good money at the time, so I had a little money to invest. As I became more successful through natural bodybuilding, that started to grow. And then I could add, well, hey, like I mix 5 different powders for my post-workout. Why don't I just create a post-workout product that has everything mixed in? And so it kind of just grew from there. So the brand really did grow out of necessity. It came, all the products, even to this day, are products that I use. I use every single one of our products at some point. Like I'm not always taking a fat burner, obviously, or something like that, but I use all of our products. I probably use 8 or 10 of our products every day. And so everything was created around what I wanted to use. And so it was very natural to kind of start this. Put a tan on me in this video.
I will do my best, because look at, I'm like reflecting right now. One question that I'm going to ask you that's going to relate a lot to my girls and guys doing the 30-day kickstart is how did you get your foundation set? How did you get the habits set at the very, very beginning of your fitness journey, especially because you were in college? I know a lot of people that signed up for the transformation contest are, and I'm sure plenty of people who will do this program years from now are going to be in college as well. How did you make the habits stick? How did you get that pattern going and make it stick for life? Because obviously it's years later and you still have the same habits.
So I'm probably not the best person to ask this question for, because it's just in my nature. I am OCD about everything. This is a downfall of me too. It's not a great trait all the time. Like I do want to be the best at everything. And so when I decided, okay, you know, I can't swim or play soccer anymore at the, you know, compete at the level that I want to, I was like, I'm going to be the best bodybuilder I can be, right? And so I'm going to do whatever I can. So when I jump into something, I'm going to go all in. And so like, if something was going to take away from that, you know, then I pretty much cut it out. So it's a bad thing. I've learned through the years I'm a much smarter individual now than when I was just a totally tunnel vision 20-year-old.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for me to actually pick up that routine. And especially, I think the most important thing is like the first month or two, because once you start seeing the results, it's addictive. Yeah. So like when I first gained 5 pounds in like a month, and like I could actually see my arms get bigger, my legs get bigger, I was like, this is awesome. And so I was instantly hooked. So it is a grind in the beginning because, you know, for most people, like, you're not going to see a result in one day of working out, and it's going to suck. Like, not everyone likes to work out. I love to work out. So that's also the reason why it's not good to ask me, because I love to work out. That's my outlet. And not everyone does. But I think once people can start seeing the results, if they just commit, okay, I'm going to do whatever I can to stick to it for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or whatever. If you do that, you're going to see some results, and then it's going to get easier and easier and easier.
Exactly. And working out is definitely something that not everyone starts out liking, but when you start to see those results and you see that your actions create change, or your actions create a result in yourself, your body, your mindset, how you approach time management in your day-to-day life, then working out becomes kind of enjoyable, whether it be the actual action itself or the benefits that it brings you. It definitely will grow on you over time. So making that first commitment, I think, is a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, even if I don't like it, just let me do this 30 days and see where it takes me, because you never know how much something is going to grow on you or how much you might benefit from something.
For sure, for sure. I mean, that's nothing to it but to do it. You got to get in there and do it for a while, and then hopefully you'll be hooked. I mean, if you have some good guidance, find somebody to follow. Follow Marissa, listen to what she says, and then you will see results, and then it's going to get easier.
With making progress and proper diet, nutrition, training, cardio, then comes supplementation. I want your take on why proper supplementation matters to you, why all of that embodies your brand, and just why people who are watching this should invest in the best supplements possible when they're taking advantage of doing their training and their nutrition properly, and then taking everything to the next level with supplements.
So that's a loaded question. So there's a lot here. So the first thing is, at the end of the day, supplements are supplements. If you don't have a solid diet and training program, then the supplements, you can take whatever, all the supplements in the world, is not going to do you any good. So first you got to have those foundations. And if somebody is trying to sell you snake oil or a magic pill, that's a lot. Or if the first thing they say is you need to get on a fat burner, that's wrong. First you got to get your diet, your cardio, your training in check. And so that's one of the reasons why we opened up the nutrition corners, because a lot of the retail stores out there, somebody, like you'll walk in there and be like, hey, I'm trying to lose weight, and they'll bring you right over to the fat burner section. Yeah. Well, if you walk into the nutrition corners and say, I'm trying to lose weight, the first question that Zach's going to ask you when you walk into FNC is going to be, well, how's your diet? Do you know how many calories you're eating? Do you count your macros? How are you doing? How much cardio are you doing? Because once you have all that in check, then you add in the supplements. And so that's one of the reasons why we started the stores, is to be a resource. We like to think we're not a retailer, but we're a resource to people. And then going to the brands, I think supplements can make a huge difference if you're taking the right products. And it's taking products that you can trust. The industry is not regulated very tightly. So there's a lot of fly-by-night companies, people that are not doing ethical things, they're not living up to label claims. All our products are made in NSF CGMP certified facilities, inspected by the FDA. We do testing before, during, and after all our products. So at the end of the day, I tell people, I'm taking these products. If you want to take them too, great, but you can trust them, I'm taking them. These are made for me. And so I think that resonates really well with the consumer. But you got to take products that are actually also well thought out. So like core nutritionals, we don't use fillers, we don't use artificial colors, we don't use proprietary blends where people can make really cheap products, just put a bunch of caffeine in there and then pass them off as something that's effective. We don't do any of that, and that's why we are like a premium brand. And so if you use premium products in combination with diet and training program, and you have somebody guiding you through those things, I think supplements can make a huge role. Most people can't get in enough protein that they need just through eating. Most people don't want to eat chicken 6 times a day.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. And there's so many good, Core and Marissa Labs make so many good proteins that why not mix something up and then have something that's fun and tastes good too, with not having to choke down tilapia or chicken 6 times a day.
Literally, guys, I made cereal with protein milk, just literally shook it up with cashew milk, poured it over cereal with like Icon Meals popcorn, and had Lucky Charms protein as the milk.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
My thing is honeycombs, and then I'll do 2 scoops of the Lucky Charms protein on top, and so like the marshmallows like get stuck in the honeycomb, and it's awesome. It's like that's like a great like pre-workout or breakfast.
Yeah.
And you know, like that's like the core MRP came out of necessity. Like most people are rushing off to work and they don't eat breakfast. Core MRP is like the perfect meal replacement for that. You know, like when you have to, people need to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Or people miss meals because they're stuck at their desk. You can have a shake. This only takes 2 seconds. So I think at the end of the day, supplementation makes a big deal, especially people who don't have their diet 100% in check. Some people just don't like eating greens. Like, you know, taking a good multivitamin and a fish oil, I mean, that's a very basic thing that a lot of people gloss over. They're not sexy products, but like they do help. You know,
You
they
guys
really do help.
know I stress that so much. Just multi-fish oil. Everyone take it. I don't care what else you do. That is
I would add one more thing to that.
On
On top of the multivitamin, even though it already has it, is vitamin D. Extra vitamin D is so important. Most of America is vitamin D deficient, and vitamin D I think is like the miracle vitamin. I mean, it helps with hormones, just state of well-being, just joint health. I mean, it's just amazing. And so most people are vitamin D deficient, and when you start supplementing with like a good dose, 2,000 to 5,000 IUs a day, you will notice a difference like in 1 to 2 weeks. Like your mood improves, your skin improves. I really feel that like a higher dose of like 5,000, if you work inside. You know, most people like are not exposed to the sun. I mean, as you can see, I pretty much work inside.
As you can see, we're reflecting just white.
So I recommend, you know, my wife and I, we both take 5,000 IUs a day on top of our multi, because it's really negligible what's in the multi. It's not enough to really make a difference.
Yeah.
To keep you from being deficient. So
I'm definitely gonna make note of that.
Yeah, definitely should check it out. And you can very easily, when I go for like a physical, like they'll check your vitamin D levels to see if you're deficient.
Cool. So we learn something new every day. So that is Doug Miller. That is not everything, but in a nutshell, everything about him and his brands. So basically, guys, you guys have heard me say this before, but you can get 10% off your first purchase from Fairfax Nutrition Corners, where Zach is the manager. So you can contact him, you can contact the store. And one thing that you touched on that I think is really cool about the nutrition corners as they are stores is that when you contact them or when you walk into the store, they ask you about what you're already doing, and that's why they take the email orders, the phone orders, and it's not just like, here, go check out on the store, on the website, because they don't do that. And it might seem inconvenient to some, but it's actually going to pay off more in the long run to just have a conversation, talk about what you're doing, and get the right evaluation from the store manager who knows what they're doing, get supplements that way. And they might even say, like, you need to just diet and exercise and then come back to me, like get a multivitamin and then come back later. Like, you're gonna get an honest opinion. And so that's what I think is really cool about them. So if you just mention my name, Marissa Roy, MarissaRoyFitness, Marissa at Fairfax Nutrition Corners, then you can get 10% off your first purchase, and Zach will throw in some sample packets, like either a shirt or a shaker, just hook you up with some stuff you might want to try. And all the info for contacting him or the store or his email, all in the description box below. It's in every single video for this Kickstart, so make sure you check that out. Basically, all your supplement needs are going to be covered by that store. So that was day 22, guys. Tomorrow we start week 4. I cannot believe we're already like all the way through this. It's flying by to me. I don't know if it is to you guys, but thank you guys so much for all the support. Keep crushing it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for leg day.